Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the epic spate of debauchery that is my life and Project Snowball. Moving ahead, we're doing a little something different today. We've got the motor mounts all, they are where they're going to be. I still haven't completely welded together the front one because I still may have to move it, but I really don't want to, and I don't think I'm going to have to. I'm just leaving the option open because I don't want to cut it apart again. What we're working on now is mocking up the front end and other components, and having some issues there. There's a few ways I could go. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be able to use the industrial fan that came with the engine, but I do have some other options. So let's show you what we got. We have an engine sitting where it's going to be, and a radiator sitting where it needs to be, kinda. I have a front end grill set it there to show me where, you know, my limits are. And of course, right off the bat, we've got issues with interference. The fan is too big, plain and simple. This is a 26-inch industrial use fan, and there is not 26 inches between the lower and the upper neck of the radiator. So it's just not going to work, period, with that fan, no matter what I do. I can't make it any shorter. So it's not like I could move the fan back and run a hose around it. That's not going to happen. And I can't move the radiator any farther forward because if I do, I won't have room for the intercooler, which I've got like 5 inches here to fit an intercooler. I am going to do away with all these bolts sticking out on the back side, so I don't have to worry about that. And to do that, what I'll do is just I will take these and mark them and cut them off and sink them down inside between these and flush weld them in there so the nut can actually be sitting down inside instead of sticking out the back. And I'll do that for all of them. Now, yeah, I know what you're thinking. I could just, where all the bolts are, grind some paint off and put a bead of weld on each, and, you know, maybe intermittently every few inches, and just weld this on here. But then it's going to leave bolt holes. And while I could put some short nuts and bolts in there for decorative purposes, you know, actually I might do that. Anyway, if you look at it, it's pretty well centered, the radiator is, in between the upright supports. Now, we are going to move these upright supports outboard. If you look at the M35A2s, these actually were moved outboard 1.5 inches, and all they did was flip that bracket down there on the frame around, and they moved this out, cut a small slot in the headlight panel for it, and they either did away with or flipped these. I've seen different models, and they put another upright bar over here and just bolted that to that. So it gives you, right now there's like 27.25 inches between the two. When you move those outboard, it gives you 31 some odd inches of width that you can fit an intercooler. Now obviously the radiator doesn't have to be this high if I downsize the fan. And actually, from this surface on the frame rail or cross member to the bottom of the hood, I've got 34.5 inches. Now I measured that on that truck over there because the motor's not in, and it is so nice to be able to go walk over to another unmolested truck with no motor in it and just take measurements that I need and not have to throw body panels back on this. And it's raining again. I'm so tired of this. Every day. It rained all night. It hasn't stopped raining for 2 days, 3 days. Not really. Anyway, so what I've got to do is I've got to downsize this fan, and it would be nice if I could shorten it even a little more to move the radiator inboard so I can get the intercooler away from the grill. It'd be nice to be able to do that. Now, if I downsize the fan, I can also drop the radiator down. See, it's ideally in a cooling system, you want your radiator cap above the motor, above the whole cooling jacket as far as you can get it. Now, it doesn't need to be that high above it. I mean, it's way above the motor now, probably 6-7 inches. And I still could move it up another almost 2 inches and not hit the bottom of the hood. but I don't need to. Before I get off track, the fan hub I've got in here, that's an industrial fan hub, pulley, and fan clutch. That's not the original fan hub to this motor. It actually had the fan set higher for that Ford F800 it came out of, but this is the original fan clutch and fan. So if you measure from the face of the block there to the outside of the very front face of the clutch there, it's like 9 3/4 inches, almost 10 inches. And you remember when I took measurements before I even started this project, the reason I wanted to use this motor is because it was 10 inches shorter than the multi-fuel. So we're still, even with that even with that almost 10-inch long fan assembly, we're still shorter than the multi-fuel, otherwise we wouldn't have 5 inches here. But it does take up a lot of unnecessary real estate. I mean, it's ridiculous. I should be able to shorten that 2.5, 3 inches. So to get to that, I have a couple of options. I can use this fan clutch and hub assembly, and I think this is from I have two here, two fan hubs. One of them or another is from a first gen, one's from a second gen, and the difference is like one of them is offset. If you see if I can see the idea there. Yeah. So this one actually drops the fan down and to the right, and this one puts it directly in the center where the fan is now, but even lower, because this would be the bottom mount bolt for that hub, and it even drops it below that. So I can use that pulley, fan, and clutch on that hub, keep it centered, and drop it down, which will allow me to drop my radiator down and keep the fan between the water inlet and outlet. If I change the fan hub assembly, I'll probably have to change the length of the belt. That's a $75 belt, and I seriously doubt they'll let me return it because I already ran the motor for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so with it on it, and you can tell it's been run. So what to do, you know? I mean, the way this is set up, if you measure it from I already did this. I had a block of wood on top and measured with it standing straight up on the concrete. That is 7 1/4 inches. So it's significantly shorter than the other one, 2 inches or so. This is another thing I could do. I could use the original multi-fuel fan if I could get the bolt pattern to line up, which it's so close, but just not quite. Then I'd have to make either get Larry to make an adapter bushing, or just bolt it together and hope that it doesn't need the pilot, and cut some of this long ass adapter off, because that's, I mean, yeah. That would end up putting me a little shorter than that. If I could cut this down to only 1 inch thick and use that and open up those holes to bolt this fan onto that hub, then I wouldn't have to move anything, but it still leaves my radiator way up there. So as much as I don't want to, what I'm probably going to end up doing is using that. It's not as heavy duty. Obviously, it's just a pickup truck fan and fan clutch, but it is a 20-inch fan. The multi-fuel fan is a 20-inch fan. The multi-fuel fan is a 6-blade. That's a 7-blade. The radiator is known because people are using those in place of the original multi-fuel radiator, and it's working fine, keeping them cool. If it keeps a multi-fuel cool, it should keep the Cummins cool. So if a 20-inch fan with the same kind of radiator kept a multi-fuel cool, it should keep the Cummins cool, right? So I should be able to step down to a 20-inch fan without an issue, hopefully. And it will give me a fan clutch, which should improve my economy and efficiency over having a solid mounted clutch or solid mounted fan to the hub. Obviously, you know, like we said, this has a fan clutch on it. It is definitely a bigger clutch. It's industrial. That is not, but I bet it's going to be easier to get parts for that. You know, that replacement fan clutch than it would be for that. So, and I think that one is bad anyway. Not that I can use it. So, you know, if I used a bigger radiator, if I found something else that would go in there, I could probably get away with using that fan. I'd just need something that would clear the fan blades, even if they were to the side. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So I spent a couple $100 on that radiator. It's been sitting over in the corner of the shop for probably a month and a half, 2 months now. So anyway, thanks for watching, dudes. Thanks for catching up. Check out our sponsor in the description below, and we'll see you next time.